So, I'm somewhat of a zombie fanatic. I've read a whole lot of books, watched many series, and a whole bunch of films. But never before have I run into a series quite like Kingdom. Now, stop me if you've heard this before. A series based in South Korea with a strange and wild new disease which makes the infected hunger for human flesh. Sounds pretty stereotypical, but wait, this isn't The Train to Busan, but that is also a very, very good zombie movie. This is Carriage to Busan, where this story is set a few hundred years ago in the 1600s, so that means no automatic guns inside. We're back to the good old days of fighting with swords. So how is this show a masterpiece? Well, we only have to look at the pilot episode to see its potential. The show opens with a foreboding tone as a plant is ground into a liquid and then fed to a man in royal clothing. It is also injected into the brain. We get flashes of the zombies or infected. Why does nobody say zombie? And then as the smoke rises, more flashes of blood-covered peasants as the eyes open and glazed white. And boom, a title card. In a few short seconds, it shows how the disease was made. None of this mysterious outbreaks, unknown disease ravaging the planet in impossibly short time. The show truly begins with two waiter people, I'm not quite sure what they're called, going to give food to the king. But then only a minute in and we already got our first jump scare, and that one really got me. We then cut to a scene of a member of the evil Haewon Cho clan. These guys are set up to be the main antagonists of the show, and they're the bad guys, and they lop off two guys' heads and arrest all the scholars to show it. They proceed to torture them until it is time to meet the main character.
그렇다면 새로운 바람. 너희들이 받드는 새로운 왕은 누구이냐? 이 나라의 국본, 세자인가?
We are introduced to our fine protagonist, the Crown Prince of Korea, and the Queen, the daughter of the leader of the Haewon Cho clan. The prince has refused to see his father, and has his doubts on whether the king is really truly sick. He sneaks into the palace to find the king, and see for himself, but what he finds is, well... Yeah, that's good old dad, just not quite as he remembers. See how this movie isn't just your normal zombie show? In fact, you could remove the zombies and the show would still be amazing, but just you wait. Now, the prince's bodyguard, Moo Young, stole the infirmary log, where we see that a famous physician had been treating the king, and they head off to find him. This is where we meet our other two characters. In the province of Donye, in a small area called Jaehyun, I don't know how you pronounce that, we meet the nurse, Seobi, and a patient, Young Shin, as they wait for the return of the physician, Lee Song-yi, the one mentioned earlier. As he arrives with a body, we cut back to the Haewon Cho clan, who have discovered incriminating evidence against the prince. They decide to find the crown prince, but the prince is already gone, and because these guys are the bad guys, well... Prince Chang and his guard head for Dongye to find Lee Song-yi, and now the Haewon Cho clan is after them, since he is in fact guilty of treason. And now the chase is on. We cut back to the others in Ji-hyeon, I still don't know how to pronounce that, where young Shin has found meat and cooked it for everyone. But what is this mystery meat? So that's why it was so finger-licking good. Sorry, that was a terrible joke. We see Young's perspective. And as everyone convulses in pain, the infection begins. That person Young Shin fed everyone was infected. So now the apocalypse begins. Both Young Shi and Seo Bei did not eat the food, so they're not infected. But the entire population of Jilhyun has fallen into the disease. And that's it, the pilot episode of Kingdom. It is truly an amazing show, and if you haven't watched it already, like some people, you should most certainly do. But from here on out, I get into spoiler territory. So watch it before you come back. I'll still be here. Watch it. Do it now. Right, and we're back. Now I'll go over what makes this show a masterpiece. To begin, let's look at the characters. We have the Crown Prince Shang. He's a prince not controlled by the idea of power or fear of the Haewon Cho clan. He is a ruler who was trained at birth by An Hyun, a wise fighter and philosopher and all-around really cool guy, to govern for the people and not himself. In his adventures, there is his loyal bodyguard, Mu Young, who is loyal to the prince and is trying to keep his wife alive and healthy, but sadly, he is blackmailed by the Cho clan to spy on the king, or they'll kill his wife and unborn child. He was also my favourite character until they did my boy dirty in the second season, man. That was a tough episode. We also have Seo Bei, one of the smartest people in all Korea, it would seem. She was trained by Lee Song-hee and knows the most about this new disease. Everyone, even the bad guys, make a conscious effort to keep her alive because she is so vital. With Seo Bei, we're also introduced with Young Shin, a tiger hunter, who will do whatever is necessary to survive. He lived through and fought in the Japanese-Korean War, and is a very skilled fighter. We also have the foolish Cho Byung-pal, a member of the Haewon Cho clan who isn't necessarily a bad guy, but our inside perspective of what happens on the other side. We also have the evil queen and her insidious father, leader of the Haewon Cho clan, as our main antagonists. And as another antagonist we have... Where would we be without our lovely, infected, craving human flesh? Well, to the basic zombie fiction connoisseur, it looks like the same as every other zombie. But there are a few great differences between the average and Kingdom zombies. One is the way the zombies work, both how they infect and what they are. One thing you should know before I begin my dissection is how someone is infected. This isn't your common get bitten by an infected to turn, or at least not yet. It starts off with being injected with the resurrection herb, where you become what I would call a pure zombie. You cannot infect others, and can only be killed by severing the head or killing the brain. But then, how could this virus spread, I hear you ask? Well, if someone was, say, stupid enough, or in this case hungry enough, to eat another person who just so happened to be infected, well then you can actually infect people, since the virus has mutated inside you. This becomes the most terrifying disease in history. But wait, it wasn't even a disease, it's a parasite that had eggs in the leaves of the resurrection herb. And fun fact, can be dispelled by water, which is very interesting, because it's also quite accurate. Water can kill a lot of parasites, so it makes sense that these guys are afraid of bodies of water. And, like most diseases or parasites, it is also afraid of high temperatures. So, the zombies hide underground or anywhere there's shade during the summertime, to get away from the heat of the sun. But, when it gets colder, they get out. See, it led to a very cool scene where all the main characters are used to the zombies hiding during the daytime, and they think that it's just a thing that they're afraid of the sun. But it's just that it was temperature, and it leads to a really cool scene where they're all like, oh yeah, we can get there just in time before the sun goes down. And then all the zombies wake up and start running after them. Oh, it's so cool. You should really watch this. It's great. I love this show. And next we talk about the main message, the divide of class. This is like the deadliest thing in the entire show. The many innocents killed by the Haewon Cho clan and the fact that the outbreaks are called riots and uprisings first.
These peasants are outcasting noblemen!
The class divide is the main reason the outbreak becomes so serious. The upper class eat lavishly as the peasants starve, so drastically they resort to cannibalism, which is the cause of the entire pandemic. And to top it all off, the peasants barely resist the disease. You see the mindset this was? What the director wanted to portray? It's such a cool and well done portrayal of feudal Korea. And not only is the society authentically portrayed, so is basically all the sets, from the beautiful palace to the poverty-stricken streets. And even that one rat tunnel that you go through in the second season, all of this is so accurate and I love it. All these aspects combined into one great show that surprisingly is only a 12-hour binge, and man is it worth it. So that's the end of my review of Kingdom, and how it is one of the most amazing zombie shows to ever exist. So, yet again, another week, another different type of video. I had no idea what to do, what history topics to look through, so I decided to review Kingdom because I love the show and I'm watching it for like the 5th time. And it's really authentic, and I just really liked that. And I love zombie movies, so if you like this, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, it would be appreciated, like, a lot. Yeah, thanks. Bye. If you want me to do more of these, tell me in the comments. Cool. I'm gonna do more anyway. Bye.